You could actually do the work you say you've been spending a decade doing and give some information. Like, wow, it's crazy that this synagogue sends money directly to the IDF. But no, of course you didn't fucking do that, because you would get eaten alive by your fans. Unlike Hasan, I'm going to give you some context that doesn't excuse anti-Semitism. Here is this video. This is a synagogue in Miami, Florida, welcoming Netanyahu, okay? Giving him a hero's welcome. Okay? Everyone's really jazzed to have him there. Okay? Obviously, yuck, right? Netanyahu sucks. Here is what Hasan chose to say, right? Here is what Hasan chose to say. I've spent the last decade talking about the separation of Zionism and Judaism. No, you fucking haven't. Acting like that has been one of your crusades to parse the difference between Judaism and Zionism is so fucking stupid, bro. And while conceptually it is true, so while conceptually it's true that Zionism and Judaism are different, these sorts of images make a much stronger argument against said separation. So he's saying while conceptually it is true that these things are different, the reality is this is a very strong argument in the opposing sense. Then people wonder why anti-Semitism grows. This is a big part of the reason why. So let's talk about this, because everyone's saying like, oh, you misinterpreted it. No, I fucking didn't. This is literally him saying, well, Jews, that's why everyone hates you. Because one synagogue in Miami celebrated Netanyahu being there. And because of that, that's why anti-Semitism is rampant. Let's do a little digging, because for him to say he spent all this time separating Judaism from Zionism, he didn't do it here, where it might actually done some good with his platform, right? He didn't separate the two. Of course, there are like hyper-Zionist Jews, right? Of course there are, who just fucking love Israel down. And some to the point of like, we want to exterminate everyone else and expand Israel, right? Of course those people exist. That's who the settlers are, right? In the West Bank. But let's talk about this specific synagogue, because he is just presenting this as any synagogue in America. This could be any synagogue in America that this is happening in. And because of that, this is why anti-Semitism happens. It took me 2 fucking seconds to find out what synagogue this happened in, what school of Judaism they belong to, and their politics. Okay? It took me 2 fucking seconds. Okay, so NBC Miami did a whole article about Netanyahu visiting. And so they talk about the Shul of Bal Harbor, which is an Orthodox synagogue. An Orthodox synagogue. That's like the most hardcore you can be without being Hasidic, if I know things correctly. Okay? I'm pretty sure the Orthodox is like super duper kosher. They are hardcore in their religion. Okay? Orthodox synagogue. Okay, right there are a lot of different schools of Judaism, or categories. I don't know what the term is. Disciplines of Judaism, right? An Orthodox synagogue in Miami, Florida is very different from an Orthodox synagogue in New York City, even. right? So even within the school of orthodoxy, there are differences, okay? And the article makes sure to say that even in Israel, people living in Israel fucking hate Netanyahu. He has a 53% disapproval rating back home. So for him even to say that Zionism supports what's happening in Palestine is fucking bullshit. His motivational message was received with great enthusiasm here in South Florida. Okay? He is undoubtedly more popular right now in Surfside, that's the town that this happened in, than he is in Tel Aviv, or the neighborhood in Miami. So multiple times in this article, they are sure to mention that even Israelis hate Netanyahu more than this fucking super Orthodox church, or synagogue, excuse me, in Miami. So these people are very extreme. Even Israelis hate Netanyahu more than these people do, okay? These Jewish people are very extreme. So then I went to the shul's website, and there are multiple places on the homepage to donate directly to the IDF. This is not something that most synagogues are doing. This place is like hardcore, not even just Zionist, like pro-IDF, okay? Netanyahu chose this synagogue on purpose. They are extremely IDF friendly. Then I zoomed out, right? I was looking at the synagogue itself, and then I zoomed out to look at Surfside. Surfside is the neighborhood this is happening in. The town is mostly Jewish. There are like multiple synagogues within walking distance of each other. And I will guarantee you that each of those synagogues is doing something completely different. Surfside is considered to be by many to be Miami's most Jewish neighborhood. It is home to under 6,000 people, so it's very, very small, and has at least 2,500 Orthodox Jews. And they're from all over the place, okay? So then I was like, okay, well, just to make sure these aren't libs, right? These aren't libs supporting Benjamin Netanyahu and cheering for him in Miami. I decided to pull out even more, because I was like, okay. As soon as I saw where it was, I was like, this is in fucking Dade County. Like, these people are super conservative. Of course they are supporting Netanyahu in Israel, right? They're fucking Republicans. Yeah, it's a neighborhood, not a city. It's a neighborhood of Miami, but the neighborhoods are big because Miami is huge. So I zoomed out even further. So now we've looked at the synagogue. The synagogue itself is super, super conservative, Orthodox. Not conservative in the Jewish sense. Conservative in like the political sense. Hardcore, love the IDF. Really want you to send your money to the IDF. That is not common, for starters, right? In America. Zoom out. Surfside. The neighborhood in which this is happening. Full of Orthodox Jews, right? Who are very politically conservative. Zoom out even more. Surfside is, I think the precinct was 010. Yeah, 010.0 is the precinct for Surfside. Trump won by a fucking landslide in this neighborhood. Okay? This is not common. This is not common. Okay? This is an extremely conservative area with an extremely Orthodox, hardcore Zionist synagogue that is like IDF first. These are hardcore Republicans. So for Hasan to look at this and say, and do none of the work I just did that took me 2 seconds, do none of the work to say, to actually work on the separation of Zionism and Judaism. And instead to say, this is why anti-Semitism grows. This is a big reason. Because a super conservative synagogue did something super conservative, which is support Netanyahu just like Trump is doing. This would have been a great time to say, hey guys, I know you might think that this is what all Jews feel, but it's not. This is actually a very extreme synagogue in a very conservative city, in a very conservative county, in a very conservative state. What they are doing here does not reflect the opinion, the experience of the Jewish diaspora. No, he did none of that. He just said, yeah, Jews, this is why everyone hates you. You could do something to fight back about these images and the argument they make. Because the argument they are making that you are co-signing is that there is no separation between Zionism and Judaism. Like, wow, no wonder people feel that way. You could actually do the work you say you've been spending a decade doing and give some information. Like, wow, it's crazy that this synagogue sends money directly to the IDF. But no, of course you didn't fucking do that. Because you would get eaten alive by your fans. People would be like, yeah, but that's how all Jews feel. It's fucking insane. Yeah, God forbid he actually have some nuance here. And maybe he talked about the difference between Zionism and Judaism before October 7th, but you know he fucking hasn't since. Not in any real way. And this is the reason why Jewish people have to keep saying shit, because you keep fucking maligning them. If you stopped making them into this like hateful, horrible monolith, they wouldn't have to keep defending themselves and centering themselves while Palestine is being genocided, right? Like, you keep clapping in their direction. What are they supposed to do? Think of somebody who's just never met Jewish people before, that doesn't understand that there are different traditions of Judaism, right? And they see Hasan post this. Like, listen, guys, I've been giving Jews the benefit of the doubt, but this is crazy. They're going to think this is how all Jews in America feel. Wow, look at all these Jews. They fucking love Netanyahu. They're supporting him. I don't know. Maybe it's better that Hasan didn't talk about the name and location of the actual super extreme Zionist synagogue, right? Because I feel like violence probably would have happened if he had. But dude, to say that's the reason why anti-Semitism grows, no. Anti-Semitism is on the rise because people fucking hate Jewish people. Like, it's not because a synagogue in Miami held a really weird event for Netanyahu. Yeah. When I say conservative, I know it's confusing because I'm thinking conservative politically, not conservative Judaism. So I'll just say like Republicans for when I'm talking about like Republican Jewish people who are like Trumpy. Like these are fucking Trumpy Jewish people. So yeah, it's just stupid. It's so stupid. But it's easy. It's easy for people to believe because they want a scapegoat. They want a reason that this is happening, right? They want it to be some like big evil cabal because it is something so big and evil that's happening. And it's easy for people to buy because there are so few Jews in the world, just a couple million, that so many people have never even fucking met one. And so it's easy to just be like, that's what all Jews are like. Yes, MAGA Jews. Republican Jews is so antithetical. You would think so. You would think so, but let me show you the numbers again. Look at this shit. This is the neighborhood. This is the neighborhood where this synagogue is. This is their precinct from the 2024 election. 78% in a neighborhood that is overwhelmingly Jewish and what, like more than almost half? Wait, is that? Yeah, almost half of them are Orthodox. And look at this shit. There are MAGA Jewish people. They are the outliers. Like, this is the shit. Like, Hasan, you have a huge platform, and I think that means you have a responsibility to impart some sort of fucking nuance, but you don't care. You just wanted to fire off a fucking tweet that everybody that follows you would love, where you blame Jews for anti-Semitism, so no one, so your followers don't feel bad for fucking hating them. It's not my fault, it's their fault. They're clapping for Netanyahu. That's why everyone hates them. And to act like that's not how people read that statement that he made is fucking disingenuous.